Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for a new show. Loki, Season 1, Episode 1, Glorious Purpose. Welcome, everybody. Before we get started, let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos is my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see up there, hit that subscribe button down there. And if you can't, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, you hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. Also, I have all the links to my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Also, I have the links to all my channels. So this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So let's get started. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. All right. You've been warned once, twice, 3 times. A lady. Damn. That's all I can say. You know me. I am I am a fool for time travel stories, time travel movies, all that kind of stuff. And this is right within my wheelhouse here with Marvel characters, and you also have time travel involved. And fuck yeah, I really dug this. And it looks beautiful on a 4K screen, by the way. There are some shots in here that are very well done. The story is very well written. And yes, the TVA is kind of my wet dream. It's one of those places. If it was a real job, I would be applying there. So, so if you're out there, TVA, if you want to take me out of the time stream, go for it. I will work for you guys. Just let me know. And yeah, it's a really good show. They did a really good job of things. So, yes, it takes place, I mean, pretty much right after we see Loki disappear from Endgame, where he takes the Tesseract and he disappears. And that's where we start off here. And um, we get to know a little about the Time Variance Authority, which are tasked by the timekeepers in order to keep the sacred timeline intact. So what happened was, and we get a little voiceover, and I love the way they do the voiceover too, or they give us the exposition of what's going on here with a little animation, voiced by Tara Strong, by the way. So those of you who don't know who Tara Strong is, she has been doing DC animation for decades. She is currently voicing Raven on Teen Titans Go, but she's also been in My Little Pony. She was Bubbles in the Powerpuff Girls. She has voiced everything that you can think of at one time or another. So she is voicing Miss Minute, and gives us a little excerpts that the all the multiverses. There are so many multiverses out there that they actually had a war trying to take over one another. So this, by the way, boys and girls, in the comics is known as Secret War. So that's what the Secret War was about. There have been 2 Secret Wars, by the way. So Secret War number 1 back in the 80s, Secret War number 2, 2015, somewhere around there. So it can happen again. So supposedly a Secret War has already happened within within the MCU. Let's just say that. Yeah, it's already happened, and this is the outcome. As the timekeepers have come in, they've gotten rid of all the multiverses. They have one timeline now that they oversee, and what they say goes. Essentially, is what it is. No, Kang never used to be one of the timekeepers, maybe Finobi. Kang is just no one really knows who Kang really is. There have been rumors that he is actually Doctor Doom. This is all in the comics. He is, rumors that he has been Apocalypse. There are all kinds of different theories out there because there are so many different versions of Kang out there, and I'll get to Kang in a minute too, as you know, the whole thing about this. So we no one really knows who Kang is. Kang doesn't even know who he really is, and he has tried to find out as well. There is also the Council of Kangs. So Kang the Conqueror that I'm talking about right now is in the comics. He is someone that comes from around the 30th century, somewhere around there, who decided he's taken it upon himself to basically conquer all of time, so that he becomes omnipresent over time, if you will. And sitting in the TVA, who is making judgments on all these variants, basically people that come out of the timeline. So what we find is a variant is someone who for some reason or another comes out of the timeline, whether they start an uprising or they're just late for work, as Miss Minute says, and they create a branch off the timeline, and so they become a variant. And this is where the TVA steps in, takes them out of the branching timeline, and they get rid of that branch. They have a little device that actually removes that branch of the timeline. So Loki taking the Tesseract, going off and branching off the timeline was a no-no, and that's where the TVA comes in and grabs him. Um, and the woman that is sitting at the, I guess you could say, the bench that is passing judgment on all these people is called Ravonna Renslayer. That is her name. Um, and it's kind of funny they don't mention her by name, but Ravonna Renslayer is actually in the comics. She becomes King the Conqueror's girlfriend, wife, if you will. She actually takes over when he dies at one point in the comics, and she's been known by multiple names within the Marvel universe as well. So yes, we already have a tie to Kang in this first episode with Ravonna Renslayer already being in there. Um, yeah, so that is interesting. So the whole point of this first episode, is for Mobius to try. He's basically trying to stop a variant who is Loki from doing the damage that he's doing. He's basically taking out timekeepers, hunters, if you will. And so he, of course, decides to grab another Loki to take care of the Loki who's doing all the damage. We don't know that this first person, who's the big bad one, is a Loki, but he tells us that at the very end. And I'm going to go so far as to say this is a red herring. Yes, we know that there is another version of Loki out there, but I think he is helping Kang do whatever Kang is doing. And the reason why I'm saying this is because remember what Mobius says is he tells Loki that his purpose is not to become a ruler. This is when he's doing the psychobabble, as he puts it, to kind of get Loki to figure out what Loki really wants, what Loki's purpose is, what he's driven by. And Loki says, he wants to rule everything. And Mobius is like, well, that's kind of boring, especially with a man of your talents. Um, he goes, you're so much more at this point. And when Loki says it's my purpose, and Mobius tells him, no, your purpose is to make others better, is what he says, to make them realize their worth and bring them up, like basically level them up. And that was what his purpose was with the Avengers, was to bring the Avengers forth and to essentially level them up. His purpose, according to the timekeepers, is not to be a king, a ruler, or anything like that, but to help others level themselves up, a la Kang, if you will. So when Loki actually gets a hold of the time twister that he's attached to, and goes back and starts watching his life, and he sees everything that he can do, or everything that happens to him and how he dies even, and he realizes he's right. Mobius is right. He is not there for anything glorious. His life has no real purpose other than to help others along. And so this is when he finally kind of gives in and finally settles down to listen what the hell Mobius has to offer him at that point. Yes, he saw his future exactly, and he saw his demise. And we know in the MCU that's the other thing that we found out in this too, is that Loki really did die in Endgame. There was a whole speculation that Loki never really died, that it was a glamour, whatnot, and that he tricked Thanos that he died. No, because you see the tape reel run out, and according to the timekeepers, that's it. Your life basically disappears. You know, when that roll runs out there. Um, the other thing I want to mention that Mobius mentioned that he said was when he's talking about Loki's purpose, and he says that's what you are going to become, what you are, what you will be, and what you always have done, no matter how many times we do this. So time is cyclical at this point, is what we're seeing, is that this happens over and over and over again. Thank you, Mufinobi. Uh, thank you very much. Yes, I call this a big win. This is huge. Again, this is why I like time travel stuff, is because it's the logic behind it. I love seeing how people map these things out, and I want to see what they're going to talk about and how they're going to present it. And these writers have actually thought about it and have presented it pretty well. So I'm very interested to see where we're going to go with this series. And I also want to say, I want to say a shout out to Hunter B15, who is going to be in all our episodes. Who we know, we've already seen her in Lovecraft Country, um, and I'm going to murder her name. Uh, uh, Let me put on my glasses here for just a second. Wunmi Mosaku. She, of course, played Ruby in Lovecraft Country, and she was Hunter B15 there in this episode, and also she's going to be in the subsequent episodes as well. I love that she's playing genre stuff, and she's great. Yeah. Raymond says the aesthetic had a very Terry Gilliam feel to me. So yeah, I love the whole using past devices. So it has a very 50s to 70s kind of feel, is where it kind of hones in at, and never uses anything like really I mean, other than the tactiles, if you will, of Mobius showing him his life and, you know, and whatnot. But all the other stuff is kind of like old technology from the 50s to the 70s, somewhere around there. I even love the use of the dot matrix printer, of the one guy who's saying, you know, is this everything that you ever said? Sign it. And he goes, what? And, you know, the piece of paper comes out and he pulls off. Although it didn't make the dot matrix printer sound, which is, but I love this. It was great. And yes, Casey with, I'm going to gut you like a fish. Okay, what's a fish? And having that the Infinity Stones have no effect in the TVA. They're basically worthless stones. That, as Casey puts it, yeah, most of the guys use them as paperweights. We get them all the time. Oh, this is just like a joy. I've actually watched this episode twice now, and I even froze frame the when he opens up the cart to see all the different Infinity Stones in there. And there's nothing, no little Easter eggs or anything like that. I was hoping there'd be something more. There's a French Medal of Honor that has a tag on there that says it's a French Medal of Honor. I don't know what that's about. So, yeah, I'll read up on it and see if there's anything else. Raymond says the only reservation I have with these D plus shows is nothing really happens at the end. Wanda becomes Scarlet Witch. Sam becomes Captain. Well, that's the whole thing, Raymond. So what they're doing with these shows is you are moving along the storyline for the movies without having to take up real estate in the movies. Of would you want to have a movie that basically shows Captain America becoming, you know, having Sam become Captain America, or would you rather have it happen in a TV show and then go to the movies where you have a full-on Captain America and you do the Captain America story? Or, you know, Wanda becoming Scarlet Witch, the Scarlet Witch within her story, and then, you know, having a movie of a full-on Scarlet Witch at that point, or having her come into Doctor Strange 2, which is what she's going to do next here. Movie Fanobi says, did you pick up anything from the elevator buttons or departments? I didn't. Other than the nightmare department, I want to say is kind of a nod to the whole thing that everyone keeps talking about in WandaVision was that it was actually Mephisto, and I want to say that that was kind of a nod to that. Was that they kind of put that in there, and that kind of made me laugh. He goes, "Oh, the nightmare department. I'll help you burn that one down myself." So yeah, they have some really clever writing in this, just this first episode alone, and it was a joy. And honestly, I read a little bit of an article that said this is the first Marvel series, Disney Plus series for Marvel that felt like a movie quality, and I'm like, no, I disagree completely. WandaVision was completely felt like a movie to me. It was big in that scope. That's what they're talking about, big in scope. Captain the Falcon and Winter Soldier, yes, was a bit smaller in scope, but it still felt movie wise and a movie driven, if you will, and spectacle wise. I like both of those. And the thing is, you don't need to go spectacle on a whole bunch of these Marvel movies, especially when you're going for the TV series. You can still have them small scale. You can make them grandiose. You can do whatever you want within the TV medium. That's what's great about them. And then you can move them into the movie version, like I said, is you get some smaller stuff out of the way so you don't need to do an exposition, if you will, or take up half of a movie trying to, finding out why Uncle Ben dies in order for Peter to become Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. You've already got it done in a TV series, and then you move on to the movie. Raymond says Owen Wilson was great as the straight man. Very surprised. Yeah, he. I loved how he brought the Owen Wilson mannerisms into it too. The whole thing when he's talking to Ravonna, when she is up high, and he goes, "I like looking up to you. That's kind of it's kind of a good thing. I'm getting good vibes off of this," and that's a totally Owen Wilson thing to say that he when he does this. And yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Especially when he's talking with Loki and the whole thing of, "Do you like to talk?" "No, I don't like to talk." "See, you're a liar because you like to talk." And then later on, when Loki is just going off, he goes, "And I thought you said you didn't like to talk." So that is a very Owen Wilsonism, if you will. Yeah. Mufinobi says they don't have to all be the same either. Exactly. They don't have to be all the same. And that's the other thing too, is I like the difference within I mean, you had the magical version of WandaVision. You had the very, very grounded Falcon and Winter Soldier in this one. And now you're having the fantastical sci-fi, if you will, and fantasy of Loki. And that is what you want out of Marvel. It's like the comics. You pick up a comic and you don't know sometimes what you're going to get out of it. And that's what I like about this. Um, Mork says, I was happily surprised by Owen Wilson. I wasn't expecting to enjoy his character. Yeah, I'm not a big Owen Wilson fan either. And I actually liked him in this, I have to admit. So, yeah, good stuff. Um, I'm definitely looking forward to see where we're going to go from here. I'm just looking at my notes to see if I had anything else there. Um, no, that's pretty much it. That's all everything I had there. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to next week. And again, I'm so glad that it's on Disney Plus and they're releasing it weekly instead of dumping everything, the whole season all at once. Again, it is such a mistake with Sweet Tooth. Going back to the Sweet Tooth thing that I just did on Tuesday or yesterday, that it's such a crime that they dropped that entire fucking season all at once because it's over and forgotten. No one's talking about it. It's a beautiful story, but no one's talking about it because it's not being released week to week. It's just dumped all at once and forgotten about. Whereas this, and also dumping Sweet Tooth the week before Loki comes out or a couple of days before Loki comes out, who fucking was marketing that bullshit? I mean, yeah, that was stupid. I mean, because no one's going to be talking about it after Loki comes out here. Loki's getting all the press right now. Yeah. Yeah. Mork says anything to do with the different letters that make up the name of the show, an Easter egg. No, it's just showing the different aspects of Loki kind of thing. How you can have different variants, if you will. So if you I don't know if you stayed for the after credits as a there's nothing in the after credits, by the way. It's just you see people typing and whatnot, and you see different things from the TVA. And one of the things that was on the desk was, so you're a variant. Kind of thing. And you see a regular stick figure person, and then it has an arrow, and then you have all these other stick figure people, but all their heads are changed. Like one's a square, one's a triangle head, one's a hexagon head, all that kind of stuff. And as it's going, so that's what that's supposed to be. Yeah. And that's what I liked about the other thing I really liked, the one scene with the, when Loki's being processed, when he gets his clothes taken off and then, um, he's, outside that, uh, doorway that he needs to walk through, and the guy's like, "Are you a robot? Have you ever been a robot? Or are you a sentient being?" And he goes, "How would I not know if I was a robot or not?" And he goes, "Oh, well, what happens if I am a robot?" "Well, the machine will burn you from the inside out." Oh my god. And he goes, "Step through the machine, please, sir." That scene for some reason really made me laugh. It really did. And then the whole thing goes, "What is that?" And he's like, "Oh, that's your temporal aura. And step aside, sir. Please go on in." Yeah, the metal detector was just fucking funny. It really was. Yeah, this is a good start to a series. And again, like I said, I can't stress strongly enough that you need a weekly release on a show like this. There's no way you can have something with this much information being packed into it dropped all at once as a series. It just doesn't work that way. You need to have time to process it, enjoy it, and watch it again, that kind of thing. I'm probably going to watch it for a third time, as a matter of fact. That's how much I enjoyed it. So, yeah, which is very rare for me. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I loved everyone involved in this. Um, I even wanted some of that kablooey gum, the kablooey blueberry gum. I want some of that gum. They need to market that shit now. And speaking of marketing, so I was going to do, so Raymond, you asked about a giveaway on this thing. Um, I was going to do a giveaway if I could get it, but of course they sold out within seconds. Lucky Charms had a special version of Loki Charms. They only had 3,500 boxes that they were selling off. It was like $5 a box. They were doing it online. They literally sold out within seconds. So that was what I was going to try and get, and it didn't happen, of course. So nope, there's no giveaway, unfortunately. So yeah, otherwise that would have been the prize, was some Loki Charms. And yes, R.I.P. Loki. Loki is dead in the timeline, in our timeline, or the Avengers timeline, if you will. And I love how he tries to pass off blame too to the Avengers. He's like, they were the ones that time traveled in the first place, and if they weren't, if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't have grabbed the Tesseract and I would have gone back in time. And they're like, all the Avengers did what they were supposed to do, and the timekeepers are okay with that. Next, you're a variant. Get out. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And like I said, I can't wait for next week. So, speaking of which, what else do I have going on this week? The rest of this week. Well, tomorrow I'm off. Friday is another episode of Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off. Where I take the genre news of the weekend and genre stuff you guys want to talk about, we talk about. And Sunday and Monday I'm off. And then Tuesday will be an episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet, but I will find something. And then, of course, we roll back around to Wednesday to Loki episode 2. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says, if you hadn't rushed to review Sweet Tooth, I could have enjoyed it more. Thanks, Stanley. You didn't have to watch it. There was a spoiler-free version at the beginning of it, and then there was a spoiler version. I always hold up the red paddle for the spoilers. You know that. Plus, there's always the ever-present spoiler alert right there, right next to The new Ash, by the way. There's a new figure there. That's right. Ash. Everyone's in their hug poses here. Hugs, hugs, hugs. I think Mr. Freeze is too, but he might be a little frozen. Yeah, he's a little bit on the chilly side. And yes, I do have Loki on my shirt here, by the way, too. So he's down there. Yeah, there we go. Just hard to see. All right. I'm gonna let you guys go for the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. Also, all the links to my social media are there, and all the links to my pages are there as well. Ah, yeah. Mork says, thank you, Dennis. Have a good night, chat. And Loki's a 9 out of 10. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Yeah, I mean, if we got kind of got a glimpse of who the big bad was at the very end there, that would have made it a 10 out of 10. But unfortunately, they didn't do that. So yes, I would say a 9 out of 10 on that one. Very well written, very well shot. And that shot of the TVA, by the way, when Loki is looking out the window and can't believe it's real, on, like I said, on a 4K screen is beautiful. It is like it's just the most gorgeous eye candy you can ever see. Was really, really good stuff. And a lot of the shots were actually good too. I mean, the whole thing with the Gobi Desert, where you're looking at the drip of water and you're seeing the bug crawl in the drip of water. Beautiful, beautiful cinematography as well. Great direction. I can't remember who her name is, who directed the first episode here, but she did a great job. I mean, and the writers have done a fantastic job too. The witty banter, the dialogue, the characters themselves. Yeah, everything just really just adds up to a phenomenal episode. And like I said, I can't wait till next week. I can't gush more about it. There we go. All right, everybody. I will let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everyone. I will see you again on Friday for Star Wars The Bad Batch. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get nabbed by the Time Variant Authority for being a variant because you know what you did. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, and get those vaccine shots while you can. And I'll see you again on Friday. Have a good night. Thanks, everyone.